Alright, Travis Wayne Goodsell, day after Thanksgiving, and ABC4 News Utah is reporting that the homeless are being kicked out because the brand new shelters are all filled up. No room in the inn for Christmas for the homeless, and police are harassing, threatening, and being abusive to those who don't get in the shelters. So, yeah, bad news. So, thus the title of the video, Fruits of Operation Rio Grande is Murder. And so, again, let me re-emphasize, what was the seed of Operation Rio Grande? The seed was to kill the homeless. And how do we know this? Well, we know it by the fruits, the results. And so how did it all get started? Was it just that congressman who's now running for governor, who spent one night in a secret booth across the street claiming that he was sleeping on the streets? That guy's a Nazi racist. And needs to be treated as a war criminal, Greg Hughes. And so it was long before him, and that's why he did his little token thing, because he wanted to give an outward appearance to the public that he was on the case. The problem existed long before. Decades. Homeless have been gathered there. That's why they had it, is because they didn't want the homeless spread out across the valley in Utah. And so they had that downtown shelter, and all police officers funneled everybody who was homeless down to that shelter. So the homeless all knew where to go. It just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and even that shelter was too small to handle the amount of poor that was increasing in Utah. And of course, why are poor increasing? Is it because of the increased population, and so you're expected to have a percentage of them who become homeless? No, it's because of the economy. And that's because of our government. Our government knows what's required in order to live. They have to live, so they know what it takes. And so they know what they're doing. Their hands are not clean. They are guilty of the blood of those who die. And so, yeah, they know that if a business only pays $7.50, which is the minimum wage here in Utah, which is the minimum wage for the national standard, because Utah refuses to go above the national standard. And so they know that a minimum wage job is not enough to take care of an individual, let alone a family. They know. They know the cost of food. They know that the homeless struggle for food. They know that the poor struggle for food. And yet they still put a tax on food. And they tried to get away with another tax. They'll probably put it through anyway. But the homeless organizations have been trying to get the government to stop. But the government knows. They know how much it costs for food, because they have to buy food. And so there was that empty place across from the shelter, and Governor Herbert sold it to the now Gateway Mall owner. He let him have it. Paid him for it, most likely, because that's how Herbert works. He bribes businesses to come to Utah. And then, and so, yeah, they know the homeless are going to be panhandling there. They knew this. And they knew the businesses would not like it. They know this. Because the only other option that I can think of is that Utahns in government are the dumbest people in the universe. That they don't even think. That they're not even capable of thought. To have understanding and comprehension. And because they're able to get dressed and drive to work, that's not the answer either. So it means they know. They knew what they were doing. They had foresight. They had planning. It was premeditated murder. An extinction of the homeless. That was their plan. Because when Operation Rio Grande started, it was all about throwing the homeless in jail. To punish them. That was their great plan. But then everybody complained. You can't do that. That's wrong. That's inhumane. Okay, we'll build shelters. Let's go ask Utahns where they want the shelters. Hell no, we Utahns hate humans. That's what happened. Town halls across the valley, all recorded on the news, as they yell, no, not in our town, hell no. Screaming at the top of their lungs, you're going to destroy our lives. Our property values will drop. And so they build the shelters anyway. And the one shelter, the last one to get finished, was put by the mental offices, as well as the Salt Lake County Jail. So that shows you how they think of the homeless. They consider them criminals, and they consider them mentally ill. Now, you Mormons know the Book of Mormon, and you know about the story of Abinadi, don't you? What was Abinadi accused of? Being a criminal, going against the king, and he was called mad. Not angry mad, crazy mad. And so, yes, Mormons in positions of power are using the bad examples from the Book of Mormon. When they all claim Jesus this and Jesus that. Hypocrites. And so they knew the population of the homeless. They knew. Because they knew how many beds were down there at Rio Grande. They knew how many beds they needed. And yet they built these shelters with less beds. Less beds. And so are there going to be leftovers? Yeah, they knew. And so now we get the reports as we get a record-breaking cold to start it off, and now we have the cold snow as the heat from the south that was pushing up the cold air away from us has now collapsed, and the cold air just dropped. So now we've got the cold also. And the homeless are living in tents on the streets. They've got nowhere else to go. There's no room in the inn. And the government knows this. That's what they planned. This was an extermination order. to build the Gateway Mall was an extermination order, and we know it by its fruits. So, that's how pure evil the state of Utah is. The governors, the congressmen, and even the judges who allow them to get away with this, and the lawyers, and the prosecutors, the attorney generals, they all are in on it, and they're all Mormon. They all give loyalty oaths to the church. We will support and defend the church, because the church is running the whole show here in Utah. They're all Mormon. They all do what the church wants. They all protect the church. They all defend the church. And they know what they're doing. They are not innocent. No, not one.